Hello, hello. Good morning, Al. Welcome in. Barney, hello. Thank you for being here. Short notice. Welcome in, Pam. Good to have you. See, I couldn't even stay away. I had to come back. How you doing? How you doing, Barney? Al, Pam, and anybody else who's in here. Good to have you guys. Just giving it a minute. Not a hot minute, just a minute. Let's see here if I can fix this a little bit. There you go. Gene, good morning, Gene. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. We get one more minute and then we'll go ahead and start. Today's topic, just so you guys know, today's topic is going to be on the Nolen Wells. There was another interview that was given by another person that states he was best of friends with Nolen. So I want to cover that. There is another story that I have ready to go, and that's going to be for this evening at 5. That's why I wanted to go ahead, and I thought about it, and I thought, let me just come back in, do this story here, or do this case here, and then go on to the next one. And the next story is going to be a case that we haven't talked about, we haven't heard about, but it's definitely got the attention, no doubt about it, that it deserves. KB, good morning, everybody. Click that like. If you come in, click the like. Make sure at mods you let everybody know. Click that like. Send it to their streams. Pass it on to their friends. Oh, sorry to hear that, Barney. You had a rough time waking up. But make sure you just let everybody know, and let them know. Let's build a channel. They can help in any way, shape, or form. Word of mouth is usually the best way. Word of mouth is always the best way. Our base is solid. You can tell them they can, people can donate memberships, help out other people, and can also go to the wish list and whatnot. So just make sure you regurgitate that to everybody to let them know. All right. Hey, 1985, I am watching for a few minutes until I leave to go to church. I hope everyone has a great day. You got it, Pam. Thank you so much for stopping by. I send out I don't know if you guys got the video that I send out. Then I send another one saying we're going to go at 10:15. Hopefully you got notified at some way, shape, or form. SJ is in the house. Good to have you, SJ. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Awesome, Jeannie. Thank you for letting me know. I know some double pups and people don't get that notification. Subscribers, they don't get that notification. Pam, thank you for supporting with 10 jewels. Appreciate you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. You've always contributed, and literally, thank you for your support, helping the channel grow. Yeah, some people don't. Some subscribers and even double pups don't get that heads up for whatever reasons. YouTube is very finicky, I guess. SJ, hello, says L. Pam, thank you for supporting the channel, my friend. Every little bit helps, guys, because we are definitely going to Tucson. We're going to Nancy's place just to get a look, and that's going to be later part of October. So anything will help, without a doubt. L says the notifications go out sometimes and not others. Not sure why. Yeah, I haven't figured that out. I have not figured that out. Oleg, hello, Oleg. Good to have you. April, good morning, April. Welcome back, April. Good to have you. All right. So let's go ahead and start. So this morning, going over some material, there was another interview that was done. Dog, okay, knee, damn. Oh, Ross, Slap. Thank you so much for being here, Slap. Appreciate you, my friend. So we have another individual who has, claimed and probably was a good friend of Nolen that came out and did an interview. And he did this interview, once again, with Officer Tatum. His name is Tracestin Shepherd. Tracestin Shepherd. I say it like that because it's kind of a weird first name, but Tracestin Shepherd. He gave an interview to Officer Tatum, and watching his interview, I thought he did a really good job on the interview. I'm not going to lie. I think he seemed, unlike the first one or the first four that we heard from Warren, I think Shepherd did a really good job. Literally did a really good job. Hello, Chris. Welcome in, Chris. And the idea is that he really explained himself well. He was asked a lot of questions. Now, I didn't write everything down, but I'll give you the meat of what I think was the most important. So he asked him a lot of different questions. He asked him, what happened? How did you feel about when the mom said she really didn't know you? He responded very respectfully. He was very, very respectful. And he struck me as somebody who I think would have been a pretty good friend of Nolen's, in all honesty. I haven't had a chance to hear the interview. Well, I'm going to tell you right now what pretty much is the meat of it. So the idea is that they talked about there was a fight there, right? And he was the individual, when you go back and you listen to everything that was going on, he was the individual that actually got in a fight with somebody who was interjecting in him and his girlfriend's disagreement, if you will. Slap, he's a mega, the interviewer. Oh, I know, Slap. I know. Totally got it. But here's the thing. He asked him what happened, and he said that he was in the water with his girlfriend. Sometimes he even, I think, called her his with the wife. So I'm not sure if that's just a thing that they use every so often.
Janet Smith
and Jelly. I think so. Yeah, I want this one. Sorry, everybody. Give me a minute. My Dee Dee's beautiful half just bought him some donuts. Sorry. Can I get a cup of coffee, babe? Yeah. So the idea is that he basically said that him and his girlfriend at the first, he said him and his girlfriend, they were having words. I know, Lel, she is so sweet. I totally agree. When she wants to be. No, she is very sweet. But the idea is that literally, he said him and his girlfriend got into a little dispute in the water because he was holding her coaster Can I get your wife with you, says Chris. Oh, you're funny. So Annie. So what ends up happening, click that like, everybody. Make sure you click that like, support the channel if you can. Do me that favor, spread it out to the other screen. So he has her cup in his hand, her cup. I guess it was a new cup. He said the type. I don't remember if it was a tumbler or what kind of cup it was. But apparently, he accidentally dropped the lid in the water, and it sunk. And he says, morning, DD wife. Morning. Morning, everybody. Morning, DD.
Morning.
So, KB said, hi, Mrs. Devil Dog. So, what's happening is he drops the lid of the cup of her cozy, that's what it was, a cozy cup. He drops the lid into the water. And they had words, not fighting, just had words like, okay, I'll buy you another one, or whatever the case may be. Please hit the like, says Marianne. Welcome in, Marianne. So some guy is nearby, and he is Caucasian, and he has a few words with him. As she tries to go under the water and find the cozy, she can't find it. And so he has words with him and telling him that he needs to watch himself how he talks to her. And Tristan responded like not like me. I would have went off, but he responded with the fact of, sir, just mind your own business. And the person said to him, well, if it happens again, it's going to be my business. So they got into a fight. This was the guy that was so angry when they talked about. He was so angry that they were trying to get him off the island. You guys remember that person? That was Tracestin Shepherd. He was so mad that, they got in a fight. Didn't really say who won. Not like it matters. But his uncle was there, and his uncle is also Caucasian. So his uncle tells Tracin's half and half. So Tracestin goes ahead. The uncle tells Tracestin, get on the boat. We're leaving. He's only been there for about 40 minutes when this all went down. So Tracestin goes, gets on the boat. They wrap everything up, and they're gone. That was what he stayed. Okay. Now, the questions that were asked to him, he wasn't there very long. Okay. He wasn't there very long at all. I'm not sure who threw the first punch. I think he said, I'm almost positive he said the guy threw the first punch, and that's how everything unfolded. Yes, it was the Caucasian guy, Slap. So they end up leaving. Now, the questions, he doesn't know a lot about all the integral parts because he wasn't really there, right? He was gone with his uncle, according to him. He only been there for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and he was gone. But so the interviewer, Tatum, asked him, well, what did you feel? Oh, he said, was there another fight? And he said, yes. He said that was with somebody else. Okay? That was with somebody else. And apparently this individual, he said his name, but I can't remember his name. But he said this individual, he said it wasn't Nolen that was in that fight. It was another kid who was in a fight with someone else. And I think that was the one where Warren said his brother, remember, got into a fight with somebody and he put him in an arm bar. The guy punched him and Warren went running. That was Warren who went running. That's what he was talking about, everybody. Okay? So it was Warren's brother, because that's what Warren has said, that his brother had gotten in a fight, that he took off running, made a beeline for him, and then told his brother what happened. He said the guy punched me and I punched him back. And he said, just come over here with us and hang out with us. You guys remember that because we covered that. That, I believe, was the guy he was talking about on that second incident. Now, whether he saw it or whether Warren told him about it, because he said that his little brother and this kid that got in a fight, they were like best of friends as well. They were littler. They were the little brothers. Okay? So that's how he knew. But he said that was not Nolen. And then he talked about, the interview asked him, well, what about, how did you feel when the mom, Nolen's mom, Christina, said that she didn't know who Tracestin Shepherd was or is? He said he was hurt because they were best of friends. Or they all say best of friends. I think they use the friends lightly, as young people always do. Young people always calls everybody best of friends. In reality, what they don't understand until they get older is you're just an acquaintance, because you only have one or two friends in your whole life. Okay, but enough with that. So the idea was, he said, I was shocked because I had spent time and I have stayed over his house many times. And Nolen was literally like my confidant. I mean, he would help me out. He was so easy to talk to. He was so respectful. He really didn't have no anger in his body. The man was just a good man. And as he's talking, I'm trying to read everything about his body language, his communication, his direct candidness, his eye contact with the interview. And I have to say, I didn't see anything that would lead me to believe that that was an untruthful conversation. Just being honest. I think he was telling the truth. I feel like he was telling the truth without a doubt. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. And so then he asked him, well, what about the issues with the idea about why did you not go to the funeral? Because you remember, he's only got about 45 minutes being on that island before he had to leave, because they had to get him off that boat because he was so angry. Definitely had anger issues, like probably without a doubt. Chris, well, if that's the case, you only have one or two best friends, so thank God you found me. You are my best friend, Chris. Yes, I don't know what you be done. I would have been lost, Chris. I would have been lost. And anytime you want to come in, let me know. So what ends up happening is, the idea is that he says that he didn't go to the funeral as much as he wanted to because he was getting a lot of death threats. Chris says, hello, everybody. You know what I'm saying? He said he was getting a lot of death threats. And I can understand it. I mean, the temperature is hot. Everybody's angry. You got some people that may or may not have been involved. Family wants answers. The history of this area. There's so much there that it is literally, there's so much there that you're going to have these type of tensions. That's just the way it is, folks. So he said he couldn't go because he did not feel comfortable and he did not want to be in the presence of everybody looking at him and giving him the bad look, or like you're responsible, or blah, 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 or this, that, or the other. So that was a big part of why he didn't go. Okay, that was a big part. So he then asked him, did you have anything to do with his death? He asked him point blank, and he said no. Nolen is just like a brother. I love the guy. We were best of friends. He didn't do like in other interviews with other people. He didn't do the interview like somebody else earlier with this interviewer, with this for better lack of words, Tatum, where he would turn his head and he would kind of look up and he was all fidgety. None of that. I mean, the only thing I saw that he did was he crossed his arms like this. And when you're interviewing and you're cross your arms like this, is because you're really reserved and you're really watching everything you say. Usually that's what they say when you take these classes for interview and interrogations. You know, this is not a relaxed state. This is a kind of a tense state. This is kind of like, what kind of questions are you going to ask me? This is kind of like, I have to be very careful. Okay. That's what this means. Keeping everything here. Okay. That's what it usually means. Not always. You know, and I know people say, well, maybe he just used to go ahead and doing that. I'm just telling you, in the legal aspect, in law enforcement, that's usually what they teach in interviews and interrogations, and they go by the questioning on what they're asking. So it kind of made sense, but I overlooked that because I thought, young kid, you know, best friend just passed, yada, yada, yada. But short of that, I thought it was a well interview. I thought it was great. Right, Jeannie, controlling the situation. Groundsky, morning, Groundsky. Good to have you, my friend. Please hit the like, everybody. So I didn't find anything that was really outside the bounds on this, with this individual. Just being honest. I didn't find anything with this individual other than I felt like he was very coming forward, truthful. He was explaining himself. He was going ahead and he really did. You could see he had some genuine care for Nolen. Groundsky, hope you are all feeling so much better now. L 1985, says Groundsky. So then he asked him, he did 2 interviews. Tracestin Shepherd did 2 interviews. He did one with Rolling Stones and one with ABC News. Now, the Rolling Stones that he did the interview with, he said went fine. You know, they asked some questions. He gave them answers and so forth and so forth. But then he was asked about the ABC News, and he said he felt really like they were trying to take that narrative in a different direction. That what he was saying was not being what was written down and, you know, kind of like skewing or making the narrative seem like it really wasn't for what he was saying. Groundsky, so much better than I was. Thank you, my friend. AJ, good morning, DD and beautiful family. Good morning, AJ. L, good morning. Annie, good morning. So the idea that he literally felt like they wanted him to like do the video and do all this kind of stuff. And he was like, no. I'll tell you what I know. And then you just write it down and we'll go from there. But what he didn't like is when it came out, he said, in his opinion, it was distorted a little bit. Like they were changing certain things and not putting exactly what he was saying. I didn't read the story on ABC News, so I have no idea what they were claiming or what they were saying. For that matter, I didn't read the Rolling Stones interview either. But the idea is that he had explained why, you know. Now, what I do notice about a lot of these so far that have been doing interviews with Tatum is that Tatum asked him in the session, asked him, why did you choose me out of all the people to interview you? And he said kind of almost the same thing that Warren said. He said, you know, he said, I like you. I watched you on your podcast. I like, you know, how you think. I think we have a lot of things in common. We share similarities. And then he said, but he didn't go as far as the previous interview, the previous Warren. He didn't say, oh, because you took our side and you were defending us and blah, 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 blah. Because that's what Warren said. He didn't say any of that. He just said, I watch you. I like you. You had similar how we had similar beliefs and thoughts, and so therefore I thought I would get a fair opportunity with you. I didn't think there was anything wrong with saying that. I do think it's a lot of things wrong when someone says, "Well, you were on our side, and you always stood up for us. Therefore, I wanted you to do my interview." Kind of sounds, yeah, there was an agenda behind that. But with this kid, Tracestin Shepherd, I didn't see any of that. Mrs. White3 says, "Good morning. Can't figure out how he implemented himself in the whole situation. Why would he be getting threats? Nobody knew about him until he claimed it was him in the argument." Correct. That is correct. And I don't know why people who don't know what's going on, and even if they do know what's going on, where does anybody get the idea that they're allowed to make threats to any individual? You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I agree with you. And from my opinion, that is just as bad as what happened, with the exception that with Nolen, he'll never be back with his family. And that's the sad part. But it was a really telling interview because he didn't try to overemphasize things. He didn't repeat himself like I heard with the last person, in this case by the name of Warren, that he constantly excuse me, everybody. Whew. He didn't go ahead and try to repeat himself so many times and emphasize so many different things to get you to realize that he was serious when he says, "He was my best friend. He was my best friend." He was really intoxicated. He was really hammered. He didn't say those things, because that's what the last, when I watch it, that's what I heard a lot. So he didn't do that. He didn't play those type of games, like trying to build a narrative within the mind, getting people to believe something within their mind because of how he's saying it. VMS, good morning, VMS. Good to have you. Mrs. White says, "Good morning, everybody." 35 watching, everybody. Click them likes. Let's get it. Support the channel. Let's get this channel growing, everybody. That's the only way we're going to learn from others' opinions. So the idea is that he really, truly, in my opinion, if I was interviewing him, that would be my takeaway, Now, I would have asked him other questions like, here's the one thing that bothers me about so far these two individuals. Nothing with this Tracestin Shepherd kid, but the other one, Warren, is this. The idea that the question, and this is really more to the questioner, to literally Tatum. Not one time did Tatum ask the question. Okay, he did ask the question, "Did you unalive him?" He did ask Warren that when he talked to Warren. I'm jumping to Warren here. The other one we saw for the four parts. But he never asked the really difficult question. Did you or anyone else unalive Nolen? He said, "Did you unalive Nolen?" Well, if he didn't have anything to do with his unaliving, then of course he's going to say, "No, I didn't have anything to do with it." Even then, he was kind of a little squeamish, and you had to read the body language for that. And then he asked the question to Warren, going back to Warren. He asked him the second question: "Did you have any part in his unaliving?" And he said, "No." And of course, the little squeamish part came out again. But what he should have asked was, "Did you know anybody or anybody tell you who unalived him?" or if they knew what happened to him. See, he didn't ask that question because he kept it just him. Now, I'm not saying, Warren probably didn't do anything. I'm not saying any of these kids did anything. But what I'm saying is when you ask that question, you're asking about him. Well, if he didn't do anything, that's fine. But that doesn't mean he didn't know somebody that told him what happened. Okay? So you always want to make sure that question is a blanket question that's going to literally, because that's what's going to get him to stop and think. He now has to go in his subconscious memory. He has to go, oh, who told me? Who told me? Who told me? Did anybody tell me? And that's where you get that hesitation. That's when you get that, damn, somebody did tell me. I'm just saying as an example. Somebody did tell me. I can't say. No, nobody. I hadn't heard anything. But he didn't ask that question. And if he did not have anything personally to do with the unaliving of Nolen, well, he's just going to say, well, he said, of course not. He didn't say no. He just said, of course not. Words matter. Words matter when you're interviewing people. Okay? Of course not. Why? He was my best friend. Of course not. Okay? My point is, the interview did not ask those specific questions. Did anybody tell you, or did you hear about anybody having to do with the unaliving of Nolen? That's what should have been the question. That was never answered in all 4 segments. That was never asked. It was only, did you unalive him? And then it was, did you have anything to do with his unaliving? Well, he could have very well said, no, on both. Right? Maybe he didn't have anything to do with it. You remember, he was on a different boat. Remember, they left at about 4:30. But someone could have called him and said, man, something bad happened. What are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, man, I saw this, man, dude. It's horrible. Don't say nothing. You never know what could have been said. But if he had asked that question, I guarantee you he would have thought about it. And that's what you want to do when you ask these questions. You want people to think so that you can see how they think, what they think. And you say, well, what do you mean? You can see how they're thinking, whether they're looking up or whether when they're answering, they're looking down because they can't look at you face to face because they know you, they think you know, you can see them lying. Okay. It's that you have to understand how it works. And that's why it was so important. But I didn't hear those questions. None of those questions. And there very well could be a good reason why. I would love to see everybody's take, hear everybody's take, and also ask everybody, how do you see that? How do you think? Does that make sense to you as far as not asking? Do you think that question should have been asked more about not just him? Did you or anybody else unalive him? His answer should be, if he did it, no. And I don't know anybody who did. Because if he did, he should have went to the cops, right? Because that was his best friend. And then the second question was, did you have anything to do with his unaliving? No, the question should have been, did you know or know anybody else that had to do with his unaliving? That's going to get him to think. Because someone says something to him, well, then you're going to see how his mind starts working. Because everything's about your brain and how it operates, and you can't really control certain things. Okay? And if you do know something, you're going to be very hesitant to say. Now, I'm not saying he did or didn't. I'm just saying the right questions, those two main questions. Everything else is just addressing. Okay? It's just addressing. It's trying to get to know the individual, see what he says, see what kind of person he is, trying to humanize a person when you are literally interviewing him. Here, those questions are the meat of the bone. And that's why it's that important. Tracestin Shepherd, for the most part, did a great job. I think he was literally genuine with the fact that he did not show any bit of hiding or in it, and he was very remorseful. He showed a lot of like sympathy. You could see it. You could see it. But and I'm just being honest, with Warren, you didn't see that. You saw a lot of just answers, fidgetiness, looking away constantly, not looking the interviewer in the eye. Now, he's not under oath, or he's not under oath, right? So it's not like they can use some of it to what he says, but he's not under oath. Because if he was under oath, I'm guarantee you right now, and I'm going to say this, the pucker factor would kick in. And if you don't know what the pucker factor is, you ask somebody in law enforcement. That's when everything gets tight and you're being careful on what you say. Everything gets tight because my God, this is serious. Not that you don't know it's not serious now, but there is no room for mistake. That's what I mean when I say the pucker factor. So that's what I want to know from you all. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me, do you think he should have asked those questions that he didn't ask? If anybody's seen this interview, what was your take on this interview? Good morning, VMAS. VMAS 1985, you have been resting. Hope you're on the man. Tushi, good morning, everyone. AJ, Tushi, Annie, Tushi, Jim, good morning, DD in chat. VMAS, doing a lot better. Thank you so much. L, hi, Tushi and Jim. Morning, morning, morning. Morning, morning. Morning, Will Robinson. Morning, Will Robinson. Tusi, Growski, Jim, AJ. Mrs. White, did you pick up on how the last saw Nolen at 3 p.m., but they were rushing Nolen to leave with them when the boat was taken on water at 4:30? Yes. Yes, and I think his excuse, Mrs. White, was that he had to worry more about the boat sinking because it was his buddy's boat. He was more worried about the boat sinking, than he was worried about kind of watching anybody. So he really didn't see anybody else. Look, I can understand that, and I can't say he's being untruthful because I don't know what's in his mind. But I think he would kind of be knowing what's going out there. Hell, I'd be calling my best friend, in this case, Nolen, and saying, hey, man, I need your help. Come on in here. We need to get this water out. Let's start, emptying the boat as much as we can, And I'm sure Nolen would have said, hey, sorry, I got to go. I got to go, man. My buddies need me. He would have ran back there and, okay, what do we got to do? We got to get out of here, dude. This boat. Okay, let's go ahead and try to do this and that. You follow me? I think there would have been a lot more of him wanting to be there with his friends. Because when you talk about a boat's sinking, it's a big deal, right? And if it's your other friend's boat, you definitely don't want it to sink. You see what I'm saying? So the idea that literally he said, oh, I wasn't really paying attention. I was worried about the boat. No, I think everybody of his friends had said Nolen was a very good guy. They're very good friend. And I think that spoke about, well, how really good of a friend was he that you didn't really call him, because you always say he would have came in a time of need. He would have come down there to give you a hand in anything. He would do anything for you. So why didn't you ask him to come and help? Just a question I'm proposing, not saying that one way or the other, but you follow where I'm going? Annie, good question, Mrs. White. Click that like. Everybody subscribe. Let's help this channel grow. Annie, everyone that I may have missed. Jim, Tushi, good morning. Jim, Mrs. White. Oleg, hi, Tushi. Jim, Mrs. White. Remus, and anyone else. Growski, the body language will always give you away. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And that's why when you ask questions, you want to go ahead and literally not only ask questions that you know how they're going to answer, but you want to catch them off guard and ask questions spontaneously that are very tough questions. Like when, for example, when the interview Tatum told him, okay, I got some serious questions I got to ask, and I just got to ask these questions. Well, he was already preparing him to know he knew what those questions that were coming. Okay. He knew that. Guarantee he knew that. I would almost bet everything. I don't know, but in my opinion, he knew that. And the reason is because now he knows, as being a cop at one time himself, that when you asking these softball questions and what's going on, and then all of a sudden you come up with, did you have anything to do with his unaliving? Woo! That's a shocker. That's like, oh God, like what the hell? What was that? What did you just ask me? Right? That's what you do when you have these type of interviews. You want to get that person that is most vulnerable. Now, he was trying to help him. It's no doubt he was helping him, obviously. But my point is, and he's not interviewing him as a law enforcement officer, okay? But I'm just telling you, even when you're having a common interview with somebody and they come up with that big question and you're not ready for it, your mind is like, whoa, what the hell, right? And now you got to think off your feet. But he already knew that was coming, and that's why he was preparing him when he said, I got to ask you these serious questions now because this is really important. Sounds good when you hear it. You go, oh, well, you know, he just told him he had to know these. But you don't do that. If you want the truth and you want the honest truth, you always ask those questions after so many questions that are, you know, that the individual will probably answer with no problems. And then you throw that, for a better lack of word, that kapow question that usually gets everybody's attention. Just saying. And that's what I don't like, because it's almost like you're prepping your person that you're interviewing, you're prepping them not to make a mistake instead of just letting it flow the way it's supposed to flow. Just my opinion. Jim Oleg, I'm a dreamer. Good morning, I'm a dreamer. Good to have you. Don't forget to click likes and subscribe, guys. If you guys are here, click like and subscribe. And if you're a subscriber, be a member. Let's get it, everybody. Got to get that channel to grow. Gronsky, good morning to everyone again. I'm a Dreamer says, happy Sunday. Right back at you, I'm a Dreamer. April, I still want to know how the older guy in the pool picture is. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very, very, very good question. I can tell you he's not 18. Because if that's the case, he was probably shaving when he was 12 years old. I mean, that's, yeah, I really, that's a good question, April, without a doubt. AJ, good morning, Gronsky. AJ, welcome in. Gronsky, I am suspicious of the USA guy. Very well so. Hanging around a lot of what I would call teeny boppers, 18, 19, probably they look like they were like 15, 16. Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly, without a doubt. Venus, morning, Ole. L, April, me too. I'm not sure. But weird vibes from him. AJ, Ole. I'm a dreamer, says AJ. April, L, and Gronsky, me too. Something feels off with him with those kids. He just didn't seem like he fit that. Like almost like, yeah, like he was there for a whole different reasons. Barney, April, and I agree with the picks. Send red flags, everybody. Big time red flag. I'm a dreamer. I haven't had time to watch anything. I got you. Well, at least you're here and you're hearing it. And then when you go back, things will start making more sense, in all honesty. Ole, Miss Barney, exactly, says Al. April, Barney, and Gronsky get creepy vibes. KB, learning the pucker factor, laughing out loud. That's what it is. It's all good until that pucker factor kicks in, and then it's like, ooh, you're like you're very untuned on what the hell just got asked, and now, hey, all bars are off, man. This is a serious question. But that's just something that was said all the time. AJ, KB, Barney, hey, Oleg. KB says the situation must have been really bad to pack up after you just got there on the 4th and leave. Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Absolutely. That's also does not sit normal because really, remember, they all knew it, pretty much everybody. They were all pretty much friends with everybody. Not all, but a lot of them. Linda is in the house. Can we investigate the other 2 boats that were with them? We can and we will as soon as they give us some information. Because there's not a whole lot of information about it, but we will look into that, Linda, without a doubt. Good question. To see a soft interviewer, I wonder if the kid knew the questions before the interview. There's no doubt in my mind he knew the questions. No doubt in my mind, in my opinion, no doubt in my mind, in my opinion, that he knew the questions. And I'm sure his attorney asked. No doubt his attorney was right, probably there, in my opinion. In my opinion, his attorney was probably there in the corner watching. And he's probably giving them hand signals like, don't say that. All right, go ahead, answer that. No, don't answer that. Yeah. Guaranteed, in my opinion. Very good point, Tusi. L, hello, Linda, Tusi, Barney, L, AJ, Linda, April. Yeah, the last time Warren seen Nolen was 3 p.m., but was telling him to get on the boat at 4:30 p.m. Interesting, right? So the last time wasn't 3 p.m. It was really 4 3. But he did say his friend was yelling at him. But guarantee you, if they had to go, they were looking. Where's Nolen? Where's Nolen? Get in the boat, Nolen. That type of thing. Absolutely. I agree with that. He said in the interview, right? Yes, he did. He did. Barney, Tusi, April, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. It helps the channel grow. I'm a dreamer. Was it a private pool? Yes, and they did say whose pool it was, and it wasn't the judge's pool. It was another lady's pool, to my understanding. That wasn't the judge's pool. It was another place that they hung out at somebody's home or somebody's place, and it was the mom that supposedly told everybody to leave or something to that effect. I'm a dreamer. Was it a private pool? Yes. L, I believe it was someone's house. Yes. I'm a dreamer. Thank you, L. No problem. I'm a dreamer. L, I feel all of the interviews have been rehearsed. I think Warren's mom was likely with him during his interviews. In my opinion, probably helped develop the questions. Wouldn't surprise me. My opinion, I think, is spot on. I guarantee you the attorney was there. He would not be there when the person is literally being questioned that he represents. Jim, I'm a dreamer, says hi, Jim. Barney, hello. Welcome in, Jim. AJ, agree. Have I understood this right, that there was a fight? Yes, there was a fight. There was 2 of them. 2 of them. Well, yeah, 2 of them. Barney, hey, Jim, I'm a dreamer. L, I'm sure she was too. Got to take it back. So getting back to the interview with Tracestin Shepherd, Oleg says the judge's son leaked that in the interview we watched. Yeah, that is true. That is very well said, Oleg. Deb, did they question his brother how he got Nolen's keys? I think he's going to be probably somewhere down the line. If they talk to him, he'll be one that they'll talk to how he ended up with the keys. But they haven't had that question. Now he did say Warren said in his other interview that the keys was left when they spent the night on the 3rd before they were going. They spent their night at the house with their friend, Nolen, him and his friend. And then in the morning they left. And he said, he didn't say Nolen left the keys. He said, well, yeah, that's why the keys were there. He must have left the keys. Meaning, I don't know if he did leave the keys or not, but he must have, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong. It's what I think I remember. Deb. L probably set the interview up as well. Got to put a narrative out there for the public, but I personally don't think Warren's interview helped him at all. No, I don't either. I think that was a really horrible interview. I have go and do some errands. Hopefully you guys are on when I get home. You got it, Tushi. Be safe. L, no problem, Tushi. Safe travels. So now you have him talking to Tracestin Shepherd. And like I said, I do believe Tracestin is telling the truth. I really do. I see that compassion. It was like his interview and what we saw with Warren were night and day. And when I saw that, that's really why I wanted to come back on, because I felt like, I can't let this just kind of like get back to it some other time. I was like, we need to literally talk about this because it shows you, if you go look at Warren's interview with Tatum, and you go look at Tracestin Shepherd's interview with Tatum, you're going to see the night and day, in my opinion. You're going to see a very different way of how they handle it, how he handled it, how more compassion and composure he showed in his answering and the way he responded. You're going to see a total difference, unlike what you see with Warren. Not saying Warren did anything. Maybe he's a kid that hates being interviewed. Maybe he's, doesn't like, it could be a million to one reasons. But there is a difference, without a doubt. That you can say. Please hit the like if you haven't subscribed. Be a member. Be a double pup investigator. Let's get it, everybody. Click them like, click them hearts, click them emojis. So what I finally gathered, and he did ask. Now he did ask a question about, did you unalive Nolen? And he said no. I mean, his basic answer was no. And it wasn't like, well, of course not. Well, it wasn't like, really? Are you kidding me? It was just a simple no. And that's what you want to hear. But once again, I would have asked the question bigger than that, more broader than that. Did you or do you know of anybody that unalived Warren? Now you're bringing everybody into the fold. Now that young man's got to think. If he does know something, he's got to think. And that's what you want. And then when he asked the question, did you have anything to do with his unaliving? It should have been more, do you have anything to do, or do you know anyone else that had anything to do with his unaliving? Because these kids are going to talk, everybody. And if there was something nefarious that happened that night or that evening or early morning to Nolen, if there was something that happened to him, people are going to talk. Okay? Friends are going to be talking. It's just the way they are. So they're going to be asking the question, this happened. Oh, my God, this happened. I just want to let you know, blah, blah, blah. That's what they're going to do. And I think everybody needs to understand that. I'm not saying that they know. I'm saying if something happened nefarious to Nolen becoming unalive, and it was nefarious, which means it was done. Somebody took his life. Absolutely, you're going to hear that chatter. You're going to hear that conversation, especially if it's one of the people that claim to be his friend, or maybe someone else who they were friends with, or someone else that they knew from a college or from school or for something, for whatever reasons, that something went wrong. That's what you want to ask that broader question, because it puts that blanket over everybody. I'm a dreamer. Oh, that makes sense. Because of all the rumors, I'm a dreamer. In my opinion, they want to nip them, and they are getting threats and stuff. They probably think talking will help them less guilty, in my opinion. It's a good possibility. I can see that, L, without a doubt. Mrs. White said, did you hear the CETO dispatch call? I did. I did hear that, Mrs. White. I'm a dreamer. I don't know why they were even doing the interviews, because they're trying to humanize, not that these kids are not human, obviously. They're not aliens, but they're trying to humanize these kids in a way where people can look at them and in my opinion, and say, man, these are just good kids. They would never do that. They really showed a lot of love and affection, and they really did care about this, Nolen kid. And man, I was thinking this, but now I don't think so. They just seem very caring and loving. It's humanizing an individual. Because in my opinion, I would say they knew these questions ahead of time were coming. And when Tatum, the interviewer, asked the question or said, okay, now I'm going to ask you these questions because I got to ask, because I didn't come here all this way for nothing. I want to ask this question because they're very serious, so I just need your answer. And then he asked the question. That was all a line set up, in my opinion, to get him to okay, get your composure because I'm going to ask you this question. Get yourself together. Here it comes. Boom. Did you do this? Of course not. You understand what I'm saying? If he would have just kept asking questions and then threw that question out there, so tell me, did you do this? It would have been like, oh, that pucker factor kicking in now. That's what it is. Did you have anything to do with this? We know it's the real deal. That's what it's about. That's how you interview, and that's how you do a genuine interview. Because if you always have it so, hey, Mr. Nanos, do you think that are you getting closer? Oh yeah, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Now I'm shifting this to Nanos. Oh yeah, we're getting closer. So you think that we're going to solve it? Oh yeah, I think so. I think so. And you're happy with it? Oh yeah. Investigation doing a great job. Yeah. Did you go ahead and so FBI? They were. Oh yeah. They were. There's nothing like, hey, Sheriff Nanos, why didn't you call the FBI from day one? I mean, did you not think that this was going to be a big case? Did you not think that this was going to be something where it was going to take everybody by surprise, by storm? Where'd that question come from? That'd be the last time that person's going to interview him. Mr. Nanos, do you think it was a mistake to give the house back in 2 days? Well, yeah. It was probably a mistake. Do you think that could cost the case? Man, these are tough questions, right? Guarantee that's the last time you're going to ask questions of me. You follow me? It's the same thing, except on that end, the world is watching you. On this end, a lot of people are watching you. The only saving grace is you're not under oath. They can still use that information, but you're not under oath. So it's not like you lied to, while you were swore an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. That's not the case. We had a chat earlier this week. We found out that the names of 1 or 2 boats that were in the group of boats. I can't remember what day, All I remember is something daddy, Lil Daddy, Lil Daddy, Lil Daddy, Lil Daddy. We'd have to go ahead and search that and find out who owns that, and then see what becomes of that. Good point, Barney. I'm a dreamer. I think may have helped the guy DD was talking about earlier, but not Warren because he kept without a doubt, 100%, 100%. Warren, in my opinion, and just being honest, in my opinion, Warren's interview was not helpful to him at all. In my opinion, in my opinion, I think Tracestin Shepherd did a very good job in the interview. I think you could see the night and day there. Just my opinion. I agree with that 100%. Was the little daddy the boat name? Yes, it was a Lil Daddy, Lil Daddy, Lil, something like that. I think it was Lil Daddy. Some saying Mac Daddy. No, it wasn't Mac Daddy. It was Lil Daddy. It was Lil. I do remember Lil because we were thinking it was Little Daddy, and then we saw it and it said Lil Daddy, Lil Daddy, because it was a very short word, that first one, and it wasn't Mac Daddy. It was Lil Daddy. Lil Daddy is what it was. Could be wrong, but once again, I don't think I am, but I could be. Or Lil Daddy, rather. I'm a dreamer. I saw the first interview and talked a lot and said nothing. No doubt about that. That's for sure. Oleg, I saw the pic of the boat where you can see the name on it. Yes. I'm a dreamer says, I'll watch them today. Good deal. I'm a dreamer. Yes. Word salad. I agree. Holly Atkins. Hey, everyone. Good to have you, Holly. Welcome in. Annie. Hey, Holly. Ole. Can you clearly see the name to me? It looks like Lil Daddy in the blurry one. Holly. Hey. Hi, Holly. Holly Atkins. Hey. Oleg. I am sure ISS it will have to have a look. Debbie, we has had some dismissive attitude. We know now that he's going to say, I don't know how he lives with himself. He has had such a dismissive attitude. We don't already know what he's going to say. I don't know how. Yeah, true. I could see that, Deb. Okay, Ole. Thank you so much. I never caught to before, but could have put it in Chat GPT. Thank you, Didi. You're welcome. So that's his interview. And the fact that he was able to say, now we're talking about Tracestin Shepherd, the fact that he was able to say, I did spend a lot of time with Nolen. I stayed at his house several times, blah, blah, blah. Maybe when the mom had said that she didn't know him is the fact that maybe she was under a lot of stress. And my God, she just found out she lost her kid. She just found out she lost her kid, her young man, 18-year-old son who had a promising future ahead of him. So it's possible, Nolen liked everybody, right? I would say it'd be hard to remember everybody's name that Nolen liked because he liked everybody and everybody liked him. So it's possible that she just, was in that state of her mind that wasn't all there because she was still grieving the fact of her son being unalive. Pam, everyone would have a wonderful day. I got to leave to go to church now. God bless everyone. Thank you, Pam. Appreciate you and have a good day. Barney, I wish I could remember which day I put name of second boat, name in our chat. L, have a good day, Pam. I'm a dreamer, Pam. Have a great day. April says, in my opinion, there is some reason unknown to us. The parents think he was unalive. They were said that the moms have that intuition. And I know we don't ever want to believe in that, but it is true. Sometimes, for whatever reason, moms can just feel when something's going wrong, when something's not right. They can't tell you exactly what it is, but they can have that sense like something is not good. I mean, it doesn't mean anything in the court of law, and it doesn't mean anything per se. But I have seen it. I have heard it from a lot of moms when something was going awry, and then only to find out later and ask, like me, ask my wife, how did you know that? See, I just felt it. It's that gift that mother has. I can't explain it. I can guarantee you Nolan's mom didn't know if she was coming or going. That's the reason why when they picked up the phone, that is the reason why she had her friend, Shauna, who was the other two colored boys, his mother. They were best friends with Nolan too. Jalen and Jalen and Jay and Jalen or something like that. They were best friends with him too. And so she called her, but that's why she probably went over there and got the phone, because that mom wasn't in any state of mind to drive and this, that. She's over here wondering, is there that hope that her son could be alive, in my opinion. AJ, Pam, Deb, yes, moms do. I agree. L, a mother's woman intuition is fierce, in my opinion. I agree. AJ, Deb, Mrs. Y, do you think Nolan unalive during the dispatch call based upon the background chatter? That's a tough one. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I think it's probable? Not anything less than it didn't happen, right? I mean, it's very probable. So as much as one could say, no, I don't think it is, one could say, yeah, that could be a very good point. That probably could have happened during that time, without a doubt. That's a very good point. Very good point. And the sad part about it, Mrs. White, is that if it did and it was an accident, and before they could even get themselves together, he already went under, for a better lack of words. The cover up is so much more worse if that's exactly what happened. I don't know, but I could see that as a possibility. Annie, I knew my daughter was no longer here before I even got there. It's that mother's intuition. L, Annie, so very sorry. Chris, I kind of have the same thing that mothers do. That the feeling like I knew when I started this YouTube stuff that I would gain a grand uncle. And now you are funny, man. Oh, well said, Chris. You got an uncle, you got a grandpa, you got a grand uncle. Oh my God, you got it all, my friend. Andy, thank you, L. Oh, Chris, I love that you guys are friends. I'm a dreamer, says Annie. I am sorry. Annie, thank you. I'm a dreamer. Miss Barney, you very welcome. I was in the middle of teaching a class and something struck me to stop and call my daughter. Turned out my grandson was missing. So sad, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's that mother's intuition, I'm telling you. Chris, I don't really like them. I just just a cover for me. You know what I'm saying? He's brutal to work for or at work, but you should see. Damn, let's all do something nice for someone every day. We need to get this country turned around, pass it on. Amen. I agree with that, Deb, without a doubt. Oh, that should say him, not them. Tim, good morning, Chris. April, Chris, I watched you on the other streams before you joined ED and thought I really like this guy. And here you are. There it is. L, Chris. L, Deb, wonderful idea and agree. L, Barney, so sorry. That must have been terrifying without a doubt. Annie, Barney, so sorry. So now we have an understanding of the second one. I don't think that they're going to do another interview. You know how it struck me how Nolen did that Tatum did 4 interviews, 4 parts of his interview with Nolen. I don't know how many he's going to do with Tracestin Shepherd, but I'm sure this is the only one he's going to do because Tracestin Shepherd, I just thought, did a phenomenal job in his interview. I think he showed the compassion, the heartwarming, you could see the feelings, the emotion in his face. You could hear it in his voice. Yeah, there was a lot of things about his interview. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I would have much rather heard the interview asked was to both of them, did you do anything or do you know of anyone that did anything to take his life? That blanket. And did you have anything to do with, or do you know anyone who had anything to do with his unaliving? To me, that would have been priceless, but he didn't do it. Is that a reason? Look, everything here has been calculated, in my opinion. All these interviews here with these kids have been calculated. What do I mean by that? There's a reason why they chose him to do the interviews, because they like him, because he supported them. Now, Tristan didn't say that, but Warren sure as hell did several times. You know, they liked him. The idea that they felt more safer. And they knew, to me, in my opinion, that literally the questions weren't going to be hard. And when they were coming, he was going to let them know, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. Body language speaks loudly, as someone said earlier in the actual said in person, without a doubt. Someone, and that was a ground scheme, that someone this morning sometimes say more than words can, without a doubt. Well said. In my opinion, oops. I am a dreamer says, I watched someone the other day and I heard the boys were towing anchors out. And for some reason, I can't get that out of my head. It's a very good point. They say that place is very unaliving, that place where they were at, with the currents and the boats and all the accidents that happened in the past, it's not uncommon for something to happen. Barney, be right back. Pup needs to go out. AJ, okay, Barney. L, okay, Barney, no problem. So there's a few more people that are probably going to get interviewed, because I think Tatum said he talked to all his friends that were on the boat. That's what he said. So I'm not sure, but there are going to be more that we can cover to see the differences from all of them. the mind thinking, to see where everybody's at. What's for breakfast? I made French toast. My wife got me a jelly filled donut. God, it was good. Please hit the like, everybody. Click that like. Click the like. Share it. Help someone. If you want to help the channel, get the word of mouth out. Put it out on the other streams. You want to help somebody with the membership, by all means, help somebody with the membership. Let them get involved. Yeah, bad currents, that's all the more reason for boating safety and watching over your friends, without a doubt. Look, I guess one of the biggest questions I ask myself is, why didn't his friends say, Nolen, we need your help, bud. What's going on? Just come here. And then he comes, give me a second, tells his newly found person that he liked, the girl, Katie, give me a second. And then he goes, oh, what's going on, guys? Hey, we need your help, man. We got to get this boat. We got to get out of here. Help before this boat sinks. It's so-and-so's boat, man. We don't want to see it go under. Blah 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 blah. Okay, what do we got to do? Try to get the water out. Let's shift the boat this way. I could see him without a doubt, according to them, according to his friends, there's nothing Nolen would have done for them, according to his friends. Nothing. And I believe that. Because when everybody says the same thing about you, chances are you're probably right. So the idea that they didn't even ask him to come here, oh, well, he was with the girl. BS. When you're that close and you call yourself a best friend, nobody's going to turn their back on you when you call somebody your best friend. If they would have asked him to come over and help, he would have told her, I'll talk to you later, and he would have come over more than not, because that's how he was raised. That's how he was raised. You could see it by his character. You could see it by when people talk about him. That's how he was raised. He was raised with those character principles. And yet, no one thought about just having him come over and help. Said, well, what could he have done? I don't know. Get a bucket maybe. Start throwing water out of the boat. Maybe get 2-3 buckets from other boats and start doing that. Anything to get this thing going. That's what friends do. But they didn't ask him that. Why? Why didn't they ask him that? It wasn't about, hey, we're leaving. We need to go. No, it's not about that. It's about, hey, that boat is sinking, brother. We need your help. We need your help. What do you need? Anything you can do. We need you to help throw the water out of the boat. We need to get over, da-da-da-da-da. And that would have been the end of it. He wouldn't have said, oh, no, guys, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stay with my girlfriend. That wasn't his character. Do you not agree with that, everybody? That was not his character. He wouldn't have done that. He would have been right there with them because that's who he came with. He would have been right there with them because that's what real friends do. But they're not asking that question. They're just saying he was with this girl and he liked her, so he was like, hey, man, I'm going to stick around here. Really? To me, that's selling him short, in my opinion. You're selling him short. If you're saying he's your best friend, good friend, solid friend, that's selling that friend short. That you would not believe he would come and help you. Al, thank you for the 10 jewels. Thumbs up, everybody. Let's get it. Thank you so much. I'm a dreamer. Could he have accidentally been hit with the anchor? It's very possible. They say that happens quite a bit. It is very, very possible. Grayson said that was not his character from all accounts about Nolen. That's what we heard, Grayson. That's what we heard. So whether anybody wants to say that wasn't his character, that's fine. Only person I have heard say that wasn't his character honestly, is you right now, because everything I've heard, all his closest friends said that's who he was. That's who he was. Deb, if a boat is sinking, he wouldn't have hesitated helping. Don't know anyone who wouldn't. No doubt. No doubt. I'm a dreamer. He would have helped. All they had to do is just say, "Hey, we need you over here, man. Give us a hand." He would have been there in a flash. So the idea that that's not his nature, I haven't heard anyone. I haven't heard anyone from his teachers, his parents, his friends, his best friends. None of them had said that. Grayson said, "No, I'm saying that it wasn't his character to." Oh, thank you so much, Grayson. Appreciate that. It sounded the opposite. Yes, you're right. He seems to be someone who would have always helped, according to all accounts, without a doubt, my friend. Without a doubt. Thank you. Thank you for correcting that, my friend. But yeah, he would have been there. It's like, it's kind of like, and I know it's not the same, but kind of like the Marine Corps, right? You never leave somebody behind. You never leave another Marine behind. You always go back. Even if it may cost you another life, you always go back and no one gets left behind. Okay? Kind of like the same analogy. When you're a solid friend and you really consider yourself to be a solid friend, guess what? You're going to go ahead and do anything you can to help out your friends. There's no way he is going to not go and help his friends because of a girl that he just met. For a girl that none of them knew, to include Nolen, that he had just met. That's selling him short, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Damn, what about the possibility he was held underwater? Then there might be a red mark, but no injury. It's possible, Deb. It's possible. But here's the thing. They're going to present to the grand jury. The state is going to present what they have found, and they're going to let the grand jury decide. What the grand jury is not going to know is that the independent autopsy could not do its job because they didn't have the body parts that the state had. And the only way they will know this, if people start making the case, why did they not get those parts? Now, I get it. Chain of custody, the bag him and tag him theory, it's an ongoing investigation. I get all that. But in this case, if you know that you're having another independent testing and you as a sheriff is saying more eyes on it is better, I welcome that. Then why are you hampering the other side from being able to see what they find? Think about that one for a minute. April, Deb, I thought the same. I'm a dreamer. Even a non-friend would have watched a boat sink. Wouldn't watch it. Absolutely, I agree. It's that boater community, right? It's that boater mentality. His neck, throat held back for a second autopsy. To me, that says something. Neck, throat, brain. Believe his heart. Not sure on the heart, but I believe they said something about the heart. Because everything comes out of the body when they do an autopsy. Everything. They look at everything. They look at the kidneys. They look at, his brain. They look at every single thing to make sure there isn't anything wrong. So once that has been checked and done, it has already been, for a better lack of words, it's already been manipulated. In other words, not manipulated in a bad way, but it's already been handled. So when they go to handle something and it's already out, well, you're not taking it out. It's already out. So you don't know what it really looked like when it was in. You follow me? So there's a lot of things And I get it. It's hard enough to do a second autopsy. It's even almost impossible to get any information when you don't have the parts you need. Like I said, it's like taking your car to the garage and saying, "Hey, fix my car." Well, yeah, I'm hearing some noises. They open the hood of the car and there's no engine in it. Well, where's the engine? Well, it's back there. It's just not running. Okay, well, I need an engine to know what's wrong with it. I mean, how am I supposed to check it? I don't know. That's your job. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. Grayson, the issue with GPS data and when he was last seen on the island and eyewitnesses' accounts is something I have an issue with targeting the friends. Got you. Good point. Good point. The issue with GPS data and when he was last seen on the island and eyewitnesses' accounts is something I have an issue with targeting the friends. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that without a doubt. Good point. April, Didi, will they compare the two autopsies or will they not work together? Well, see, that's the whole point, April. They had talked about they were going to work together when they found out that the family was doing their own private autopsy. And that happens when people have money. When people don't have money, it costs a lot of money to do that. So that's why you don't hear a lot about that happening. Okay? But because the theory is the more eyes that see it, the better you are, right? It's like anything. The more people that see it, the more better you have a chance of seeing something someone else is not seeing. But it's saying that they said they were going to work together. And when they got the toxology report, they would all get together and they would try to like compare the notes and see kind of what they see and vice versa. Well, you know how long that lasted, right? That didn't last very long. So no, I don't think they're going to work together. I think that was just, say what they want to hear, but at the end of the day, this is what we're going to do. Because here's the thing. The state doesn't have to give any of those body parts to an independent pathologist to do an autopsy. It doesn't have to do that. They said they were going to work together because the more eyes that were on it, according to the sheriff, was better. But now you see how long that lasted. Because that's why, in my opinion, I was wondering why Ben Crump, the attorney for the family, why he made the comment at the funeral. Let us see. Let us have our pathologist talk to the grand jury. Let us be able to tell our side of what they found. And I thought, well, why? Well, no, because the state is the one who brings up the information to the grand jury. So no, they're not going to know unless they read it, they hear it, or they see it, that this pathologist, well-known, well-renowned, can't even give an assessment one way or the other because there's no body parts that he needs to be able to tell. I think that speaks pretty volumes, in my opinion. So no, I don't think they're going to work together, in all honesty. Grayson, April, hopefully they're working together. I hope they do. I really do. I hope they do. But you can see where this is already going. If they were going to work together, sometimes when we heard that pathologist talk the other day, when we had that live, and she was saying how sometimes they'll cut out little pieces of parts, right? So they can save so that they could go ahead and use for further testing, right? Remember when she was saying that? I think it was Dr. Priya Brenner or something like that. And she said, yes, that they sometimes they'll do, the pathologists, when they do autopsies, they'll save little pieces of parts so that they can always go back and do more testing. Well, it's a big cry from taking little parts to do more testing than taking the whole dang neck, throat, the brain, and I believe possibly the heart. It's a whole lot different taking everything to where the other party can't even do a valid test because they need those parts. I understand. Barney says, I understand there are laws, regulations regarding jurisdiction, but why couldn't both autopsies be done at one location together at the same time? The issue that sounds like it needs to be addressed. It's a good point. Maybe somebody will bring that up down the road. If there is going to be an independent autopsy done, then yeah, that's a good point. It's just that's how the law is written. The state is the only one that matters. Just like this whole presentation to the grand jury, it's all the state. Nobody else but the state. You know. So you raise a good point. You raise a damn good point. I'm just not sure how they would work that because that takes away some of the power away from the state to say, well, if someone else is going to do one, you guys got to do it together. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not sure how that would work, to be honest. Thank you, Didi. I learned so much here. Appreciate you, April. Thank you so much. Debbie, it's nice to have two different opinions. It's like a doctor's second and third opinion, without a doubt, Deb. Without a doubt, if you're given that same material to work with, right? If you're not given that same material to work with, how are you supposed to even? I mean, literally, this guy is a very well, and I can't even think of his name, but he's a very well-renowned individual, pathologist, doctor, like head of these organizations, very, very well-renowned. And he's telling you it's inconclusive. When you hear inconclusive, you think in your head, like I think in my head, oh, well, they can't figure it out. It's inconclusive. Oh, they just don't know. It's inconclusive. Oh, well, maybe there was nothing there. But the reality is it's inconclusive because he doesn't have all the other parts to work with. That's what's making it inconclusive. You see how backward ass that sounds? On one hand, you want them to give you the information, but then the pathologist says, I can't. It's inconclusive. And when you hear it, you say, oh, yeah, it's inconclusive. It's inconclusive. Oh, see, they couldn't find anything. It's inconclusive. Well, makes sense. He couldn't find anything. There's nothing wrong. Just a drowning. But then you find out, well, it's only inconclusive because they didn't have the parts to do the test. And why were they given the parts? Well, that's the big question there. Annie, Deb, they will never be the same. Tusi, thank you. Deb, Annie, no, they won't. Grayson, from the call to the CETO and GPS data, the boat that Nolen arrived on had moved 200 yards from the island shore when the phone call was made. Interesting. Good point, Grayson. Good point. Very good point. Annie, Deb, I say because I live it every day. I get it, Annie, and I'm sorry you had to go through all that. Grayson, 200 yards from where the boat was originally anchored at that island. So the boat was anchored, but somehow it moved 200 feet. That's interesting, Grayson, without a doubt. Very well said. Thank you for that info, my friend. Chris, now DD should not be asked backward. Should not be asked backward, not backward ass. I mean, that's a nice new word, though. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, there's many times that the state is going to say certain things at that moment to bring down the temperature in cases like this. They're going to say all the right things. Okay? Until push comes to shove, and now there has to be something done, and then you start seeing the state go, well, we really have jurisdiction for this. Or you have the politics come into it. Well, we don't want to see any of these kids, blah, 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 blah. So let's just keep it. If they can't have it, they can't do one. We're doing what we always do. We keep pieces. In this case, we're keeping the whole damn part. See what I'm saying? This happens quite a bit. And it's going to take people to speak out. It's going to take the family to put that out there. It's going to take the attorneys to get that word out there. Because here's the thing. Since the time of this autopsy that came out from the private sector, okay, for the family, how many times have you guys heard them talk about it? How many times have you heard them raise the concern about it? How many times have you heard the family say, hey, we're not being heard. Our private pathologist is not able to do his job because they're not giving us this. How many times have you heard that? Because I haven't heard that very much. I read everything that's coming out, and I haven't heard that. Almost like there needs to be emphasis on that. There needs to be people talking about that. There needs to be the attorneys coming out and doing not conferences, but doing interviews about that. Or if not interviews, making statements about that. Press conference about that. Look, everybody, we can't give you this pathologist, well known around the world, very high stature, cannot do his job. You know why this says it's inconclusive? You know why it's inconclusive? Because we don't have the parts to do the testing. The pathologist needs those parts. That's the kind of pressure that needs to be put out there. That's the kind of things that need to be said. When those things are said, and it's amongst a lot of people bringing that up, you have, ABC News, you have NBC News, you have Fox News, you have all these affiliates coming out saying, hey, Sheriff, why did they not give the parts to the other pathologists? I thought you guys were working this together. There's not a whole lot of place to go there, right? Oh, he'll say, well, you gotta refer that to the DA because they're the ones that handle this from here on out. It's BS. The idea is that this is why there's no trust from an independent to the state. This is why there's no trust in a lot in the state of Mississippi, especially in this area, with a lot of the, for a better lack of words, African-American people. It's just not. So this has to resonate out to the people. This has to be put out there in massive ways so people can now then challenge that and ask the question, why? Why? Because you know what happens? That grand jury is going to hear about it one way or the other. They're going to hear about it one way or the other. They'll still vote the way they want to vote, whether they have enough information for charges or not. But they're going to go ahead and hear about it, and they're going to ask themselves, well, why didn't they give that to the other private? How are they supposed to do a test if they don't have the body parts? But that's the question that you have to arise. You have to ask those questions. You got to demand those questions. You got to put it out there, or you're not doing your job as an attorney for your client. You're not doing justice for anybody. Grayson, if anyone wants to see for yourself, enter 3. Oh, that's the the grid coordinates. Into the map, and you'll go to the location that is provided in the call. Thank you so much, Grayson. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. See, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to take a picture of that. Because, come on, man. My God. There we go. So if you go into that grid coordinates he just put out there, Grayson put out there, it'll take you exactly where the map is and where they were at. Thank you so much, Grayson. Annie, Deb, thank you. L. Barney, it is very sad. Chris, in Warren's interview, he explained why they moved and what they were doing to keep the water minimal for coming in, because as they're moving, the water don't come in. That is correct. That is correct. But I think what Grayson's talking about is not during that time, but where the boat was at from the very beginning, that it at some point drifted. That was the boat that Nolen was on, was not the boat. That was not the boat that it was the boat that was flooding, actually. So yeah. Because as they're moving the water, and I do remember him saying that, and if they stop, then water would start filling back up again. That is correct, Chris. I'm a Dreamer says, Chris, yes, that's true. Tusi, agree. VD, that's where the problem is. Can't find the truth. Chris, yeah, they moved it from where it was originally anchored to try to get it away from other boats and the conditions adding water over the stem. Thank you very much, Grayson. Appreciate that. Click that like, everybody. Click that like and subscribe. Be a Devil Pup Investigator in the channel. Deb, wondering if the second pathologist will eventually get them. Wonder if the family was informed about this prior when they requested a second autopsy. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think, Deb, that the family knew this was going to happen. I think they were thinking in good terms, in good faith terms, when the sheriff said we're going to work together and it's better to have, more eyes on it and blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't think that they knew this was going to happen. And yes, I think it is a way to, in my opinion, to steer the narrative where you want it to go. And in honesty, are they doing anything illegal? No, they're not. They're allowed to keep parts of the body. The first pathologist who does the autopsy, they're allowed to keep parts of the body because they always do. Most of the time, they only keep little pieces of the body to do testing, not the whole damn body. You know what I mean? Not the whole body part. But they normally keep smaller pieces to do testing. In this case, why would you take the whole part? You don't want anybody else to do any test on it. Right? I mean, it's just common sense. It's right in front of all of us. And by literally them not pushing this narrative, them meaning the attorneys for the family, by them not bringing this out, it falls on deaf ears. And I haven't heard a whole lot about it. And I've been reading this every day. I haven't heard nothing about it since that funeral day. Think about that for a minute. That's probably why most people would have hired, in my opinion, a criminal attorney, not a civil rights attorney. Yeah, with the civil rights, you get the name. He's got a big name, Ben Crump, a big name. But here's the thing. He is a civil rights attorney. With a criminal attorney, he's looking at everything from the perspective of the criminality. Big difference, in my opinion. Big difference. Grayson, Chris, yes, Chris, thumbs up. L. Deb, I kind of doubt it personally. I think they're holding it in case they need to retest or do something with it. as evidence, in my opinion. That's possible. That's very possible. But here's the thing. They said they were going to work together. The sheriff said more eyes are better. When they would compare, sit down, and they would get to compare, right? They would get to compare the notes and kind of see where they're at, you know. But that really can't happen because they don't have anything to compare. You have one autopsy that has what they found. You have another autopsy over here. They can't find anything because they don't have the information. You know what I mean? That's just common sense. Damn, I'm sure then the parents are furious, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm not hearing anybody bringing this up. You say, well, they can't change it. No, but you have to understand, pressure from the people is what get things changed, get things done. The pressure that people put on when we can see what's happening, that is what helps change those things in life. It's the pressure. It's the family's attorney putting it out there. Hey, guys, hey, let's have an interview. Yeah, let's talk to Fox News. Let's talk to whoever. Hey, so here's the thing. The problem we're having is we can't, our pathologist can't do a test because the test he's doing, he needs these parts and he doesn't have any. Well, why not? Because they kept them all. That's why would they do that? You know? And then, literally, you'll see somewhere down the line, if possible, you'll see Fox News going over there and asking the question the same thing. Well, why did you guys keep? Well, it is common that we normally keep pieces, but sometimes we want to keep everything because it's an ongoing investigation. Well, yeah, but how will they do their job if they can't go ahead and test it? Well, you know, that's why we do it. We have a pathologist that does all this. You see that word salad? That's all it is. That's all it is. In my opinion, that's all it is. You're right, though, DD. They don't need entire part, I would think, in my opinion. Without a doubt. Deb, absolutely. April, what do you think was the reason the two boys did interviews? Well, I think they did interviews because, once again, April, I think they wanted to show and normalize and humanize them as a character, them as a person. How could these kids, loving individuals, could have done anything nefarious? And no one's saying that they did or didn't, but it's the perception, right? Perception is a big part of it. So maybe they wanted to do this because they wanted to go ahead and get people to see, I love my, whatever. They wanted to see the fact that they were just like a normal 18-year-old, good kids. They love their friend, right? You want to get that person. Not that they didn't. Don't misunderstand me. Not that they didn't love their friend. Not that they didn't. But they want to humanize that person to get everybody to understand why this person could have not done any of this stuff. They love this guy. Then you find out some of the questions that were asked were not asked. Some of the questions should have been asked a little differently, and it would have covered a big spectrum. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you find out later. But I think that's what it is. And when I say humanize, I'm not saying like they're animals and they're not logical and they're like they couldn't care. No, I'm not. I mean humanizing as making them look as individuals who could be sitting at your kitchen table after church and having dinner with you. They want to humanize that person because right now there's a lot of tension, and according to them, there's a lot of death threats to them and their families. So they want to change that narrative. That could be really why they did it. And the other reason is because it's a controlled interview. Not very often you get a controlled interview. In other words, the interview is controlled on how it's going to go. The questions are how it's going to go. these are the things that are going to be asked, in my opinion. That's usually why they get to control that narrative, how they want it to spin. Deb, absolutely. Tusi, they can complete the puzzle. They can't complete the puzzle because they don't have all the pieces. Yeah. Tell me what this picture of 20,000, pictures, little puzzle pieces, this 4,000 puzzle piece picture. Tell me what it is, but you only got 2,000 to work with. The other 2,000 are not there. How in the hell does anybody be able to do that? I mean, you can be the greatest at what you do, but you're still not going to be able to do that if you don't have the pieces that you need, right? Got to have the pieces in order to figure it out. Well, in this case, you got to have those body parts in order to go ahead and get an honest assessment for the family, for their private pathologist to be able to do their tests and get their autopsy done. Because here's the thing, when they go to me, if they even go to me with the autopsy done by the state, what are they bringing to the table? Might as well just bring a roll of paper towels. Because what are they bringing? Nothing's in there that has any validity. The only thing that it says in there is that they couldn't get, it was unknown or it was inconclusive because they didn't have the parts to work with. That's all it's saying, which is really what? Nothing. Zero. Nada. Tusi. Well said, Tusi. Well said. Oh my God, it's just a mess. Poor mom and dad and family. I mean, once again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what caused him to become unalive. I don't know what's in his system. All I can tell you is from the investigating side and the interviewing side, there's something that needs to be. There's something there. I just don't know. Was this an accident? And they were shocked and afraid. I mean, let's just think about this. Let's just give. This is just an opinion, everybody. This is not factual. This is just an opinion. Okay. Let's suppose he got on a boat towards the very end. Let's suppose. And they were going back, and he was going back with a different group. There was a ruckus on the boat. One person was Nolen, and another person was another person. And in that process, not by wanting to, but they get into a shoving match. Someone goes overboard. In this case, possibly Nolen. Goes overboard. He's already inebriated. He can only stay above water for so long. They're like, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, man, he just pissed me off, blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, but he Nolen, here, we got to get him. We got to get him out of there. All of a sudden, bloop, 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 bloop. He goes under. Now they're really freaking out. What did you do? You go in there. I'm not going in there. You go in there. I'm not going in there. Next thing you know, what happens? Everybody's quiet. Everybody goes back. Everybody's told you better keep your mouth shut. This is all an opinion. This is not what happened. I'm telling you, it's a scenario. Then what happens? No one knows nothing. They go back. That's all she wrote. Is that possible? Damn right it's possible. Was it an accident? Well, sure. It was an accident. It didn't mean that person, when they got into that southern match, probably didn't mean to go ahead and unalive him, but it happened. But the cover-up is even more because you're trying to cover something up rather than just saying what happened. See, that's a possibility. That's an opinion. That's a scenario that I put out there as in, could it have happened that way? Well, sure, it could have. Fact is, it didn't happen like that because I have no proof of that. No one has proof of what happened. But that's an example of what could have happened. And it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. He goes in the water. Everybody starts going, what did you do, man? You know, blah, 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 blah. Get him out. I'm not going in there. You get it. I'm not going in there. All of a sudden, bloop, 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 bloop. Underwater he goes. Oh my God, dude, we got to do something. What? What do we do? And then it's silent and it's crickets. Just go back, man. Just go back. That's an opinion. That is not fact. That did not happen. I'm giving you an example how it could have happened. And it's very probable. Just my opinion. Chris, Siri, are we still doing 10 a.m. tomorrow? Yes, we are. 10 o'clock tomorrow. It's the Nancy Guthrie thing, right? Or is it what we're doing? It's, I don't think it's the Nancy Guthrie thing. I think it was the Nolen case, I thought. Please hit the like, everybody. If you haven't, share the stream. Share the channel to your friends. Support the channel, everybody. Doug, welcome in. Chris, hello, AJ. We will be streaming tomorrow our panel from Dee Dee's channel, 10 o'clock tomorrow. So, do you understand where I'm coming from? I'm not. I give you that example because sometimes you got to think outside the box. What could have happened? Okay? What could have happened? What is the probability? You know? And yeah, it's a very good probability. So, once again, you don't have the materials to do your testing. There's no way you can compare it to anything, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. But if I was asking all these questions in these interviews, that's what I would ask. Did you or anyone else have anything to do with his unaliving? Rather than, did you unalive him? Did you or anyone else have anything to do with his unaliving? Or did you or anyone else unalive him? Then the second part is, did you or anyone else, do you know of you or anyone else that had something to do with his unaliving? See how you cover that whole blanket? But when you say, did you have anything, you're only talking about that individual. Well, hell, he can say no. No, I didn't. Okay, next. No, I didn't. Okay, next. But when you put you and everybody else, that means anybody that talked to you, anybody that you spoke with, anybody that mentioned to you what happened, you would have to say, well, yeah, I definitely know. And you're going to see that in the body expression, the body language, the facial expressions. You're going to see it in their voice, possibly. You're going to see in their stutter, their hesitations. You're going to see it in a lot of different ways. That's, to me, where the biggest questions that need to be answered. And not telling them when you're going to ask those questions. Not telling them when you're going to ask them. Just ask the questions you want to ask. You're the interviewer. And then pop those questions right out of the blue. That's the best way to get a fair analysis as to what happened, my opinion. Carol, hello, everyone. Welcome in, Carol. I'm a dreamer. I personally don't think there's anything more to discuss about Nancy unless something breaks. I agree. I totally agree with that. Carol, hello, everyone. Heading to the softball tournament. Tell them good luck on their game. Hell, I thought tomorrow was Nolen's case too. It is. This was more about the interview. Just with Tracestin Shepherd. That's the interview for him. That was just about him in the interview. I know we kind of spun off of there, but it's about to happen. But yes, it is about Nolen. And it's not tomorrow. That'll be on Monday. Tomorrow is a new case. Wait a minute. Tonight is a new case at 5. Yes, that is tomorrow. You're right. Damn it, man. Barney, Chris, you are channel back up and running. AJ, happy Sunday. Carol, good luck today. L, I'm a dreamer. Yeah, there's really not much coming from that case. TIR has some good info and good points, but the family is quiet. As long as they and PCSD and FBI quiet, we won't know. Yeah, there's no reason to really go into that. I mean, if there's some breaking news, maybe we'll do something with that. Not maybe, we will do something with that. But right now, we just got to wait to hear when there is breaking news. Carol, thanks, AJ. L, any more, in my opinion. L, hi, Carol. Enjoy and have a great day. Carol, thanks. Carol finally got some sun and no rain. In my opinion, Dreamer L, I agree. I'll never stop praying for Nancy. But after almost 6 months, it has all been said. It's very well said. Bible, welcome in. I'm super late, but you are here, Bible. Thank you for being here. Deb, I know how he was inebriated. A person can get cramps and seizures while in the water. People, if you have boats, follow boating safety and make sure to never leave anyone behind. Well said, Deb. I am with you I am a dreamer. AJ, oh, great news, Carol. L, hi, Bible. Tusi, hi, Bible. Tusi, Bible, AJ. So yeah, that's what this is about right now. Is about literally Tracestin Shepherd. I agree, Deb. Tracestin Shepherd is what this is about because he's the one that had the interview. And look, like I said, I think his interview was pretty good. I think it was damn good. I think he was genuine in everything he was saying. I think he spoke from his heart. I think he literally, if I was looking at him, I would definitely be like, he would not be on my top of my list at all. You know, I think he did really well. I think he explained it really well, in my opinion. I'm a dreamer. I agree, Deb. AJ, Bible, Annie. Nancy's case has been a long time and maybe nothing new, but they want everyone to give up. We're not, and we won't give up, Annie. Make no mistake, we're not giving up. There's not anything to cover. Like when Savannah came out with, or not Savannah, sorry, when Brianna Whitney came out with those other information that was in the notes, you know, we hurry up and jumped on that and we covered that. And that's what we'll do. If there's anything that comes out, we'll cover it. We'll jump on it literally like quick. But to search for the missing link, there is nothing else to really search. I mean, everybody who could be covered has been covered other than the latest with Doug talking about the uranium and the Guthries and the Massengels and whatnot. You know, that still has to be looked into as well as a possible factor. But everything else has been covered. So there's not a whole lot more you can really do other than beat yourself with a wrench and beat yourself up with it, you know. And use your damn life vest, please, and carry a whistle. Well said, Barney. Well said. Annie can never give up. Unfortunately, everything can never give up. Unfortunately, everything has been talked about now, though, and people can't go to Nancy's even really anymore. They can, but not really. Best idea, in my opinion. Well said, L. Bible DD, I agree with you on their cover-up of an accident or a push into the water. I just think that seems logical to me. I don't think anybody, well, in my opinion, I don't think anybody purposely unalived him. I think that's, if I see anything of an accident, it's probably going to be something of that type of scenario, in my opinion. I don't think that he said, I'm going to be Superman and swim 10 miles to inland. I don't think he did that. I don't think that he said, well, I'm going to go take a swim in the water just so that I can go ahead and relax and wait till morning till another boat shows up. I don't think that. I mean, that doesn't make no sense. So really, what do you have? What do you really have? Think about this. Think outside the box here. What do you really have? What do you really have that Nolen could have done? Well, he could have went in the water and, the current. Why would he go in the water? He's trying to find a way back. Let's just say he didn't have a way back. He's trying to find a way back. So what's going to be going in the water and taking a swim? It's not going to do nothing. Hell, it's just going to make him colder. What's it going to do for him? All right, well, maybe what? What else is there? What else is there? Did he go to the people that one family that stayed back or two families that stayed back? Did he go there to try to join them in their tent to stay warm and they told him to get the hell out? I don't know. But what would that cause him to be unalive in the water? That don't make no sense. Okay, so let's look at another theory. Did somebody just cluck him in the head? They didn't like him talking to Katie, so they clucked him in the head, held him in the water. They got into an argument fight, and they held his head under the water. It's possible. It's possible. Or how about somebody on his way back, they got into an argument, somebody pushed him or pushed someone else that bumped him into the water, and that's how he became unalive. And nobody was going under there because they were all inebriated, so they weren't going to go in there. They'd be afraid they're going to drown. And before they can stop and think of what the hell's happening, he goes underwater and never comes up. Then what? I mean, that sounds like to me the perfect scenario, the perfect thing that could have happened, short of someone deliberately didn't like him for whatever reasons, talking to Katie or whatever, and they unalived him, literally. Or what other scenario is there? Either this was an accident of something like that, because how else would he became unalive? I'm going to the water to take a swim. Really? He was hanging out with Katie, wasn't he? Till about what? Well, we know that Katie went back on a boat at about 8 o'clock, I think, 8:30, 8 o'clock p.m. So after that, he wasn't with her. So what did he do? Ask yourself those questions. What did he do? What could he have done? Try to get on another boat? Probably. Something happened on that other boat? Probably. There's only really two things. One, it was done deliberately because of whatever reason. Or two, it was an accident that happened unintentionally, but it did happen. Because I can see him going into the water from a boat. Literally, I can see him going into the water in a boat. And because he's inebriated, he cannot go ahead and swim, and trying his hardest to do what he could until he couldn't no more. I could see someone saying to him on the island, don't ever talk to, a white girl again. Or we'll go ahead and blah, 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 blah. Oh, shut up, dude. You don't tell me who I can talk to. Next thing you know, he's found unalive. Those are the only two things. But to say, well, the currents are really bad, and, if he was in the water, the currents could have took him, and, the currents are strong. Why in the hell would he be in the water by himself? Why would he be by himself? If he stayed back, it was to who? To be with Katie. So that don't make no sense. And if Katie left, why didn't he go back with her on that boat? Well, you say, well, maybe they didn't have any more room. It's possible. You follow where I'm going. There's only a very, very, very few scenarios that could have happened. I do not think he went swimming just because he wanted to soak up some sun. I don't think he went swimming because he had nothing better else to do. I don't think he was alone because if he stayed back to be with her. She didn't leave till what time? 8 o'clock, 8:30, somewhere in that time, if I'm not mistaken. So all those things are out. Okay. So now what do we have left? What do we have left? All we got is what? He swam to swim and the current took him. Not buying it. Not buying it. Makes no sense. So what else happened? Someone didn't like him because he was talking to a girl. Very plausible. Very plausible. We know how the area is. Very plausible. Or what's the other one? He got a ride back and he fell off the boat and no one went to get him out because by the time they realized in panic, he had gone under. It's not that really difficult to play it in your head. Do we know any one of those scenarios are 100% spot on? No. But to think that someone's going to say he went swimming and then the current took him, that's crazy. That's just crazy. Makes no sense. He was supposed to be with another girl, right? Katie went back at 8:30, 8 o'clock. Why didn't he go back with her? We're not taking you back, buddy. We'll take her, but not you. Just got to think outside the box, guys. Process of elimination. You start eliminating things that really don't make sense, and then you start narrowing it down. What else could have happened? He jumped in somebody else's boat and took off? I mean, what else? Honest, truly, what else could have happened? The easy thing to say is he drowned because he's surrounded by water, right? He's surrounded by water. That's the easy thing to say. He drowned. Well, that drowning makes perfect sense. How did he drown? How did he get into the water? Well, he was taking a swim. Really? Wouldn't that girl he stayed back for, wouldn't she be with him? Wouldn't she have saw him struggling? Wouldn't she have said, hey, somebody help, Nolan's getting taken by a current. Can somebody help? You have another person there. Okay, say she's not there. Say she went on the boat because they were going to take her back, but not him. Let's just say he was left behind. What are you going to do? I'm going to swim 10 miles? No. So what happened to him? There's not many literally possibilities than those two, maybe three. Two at the most, maybe three if you're lucky. He was purposely unalived for whatever reasons. He was on a boat and fell off because someone pushed him, or they got into an argument and he somehow got pushed off the boat by accident or other, and he went unalive, drowning, because he had to get back somehow, right? Or the third one, really only two, because he wouldn't have got in the water to swim. What do you all think? You think I'm crazy? Didi, I agree with you. The cover up. Ole, they have put new parking signs up on Nancy's road since yesterday. Doug, uranium. Deb, I hope there will not be secrets of hidden lies carried on anyone's shoulder. That's a heavy load to carry. The truth will set you free. Try to live by this for long happiness. Well said, Deb. Oleg, since Oleg, I saw Lauren made a post. Deb, if this kid interviewed has been boating all his life, there are things here that seem strange. Without a doubt, Deb. I'm a dreamer. Has anyone talked to the girl? The girl's sister came out and said that the girl said. The sister came out and said that her sister told her he was walking towards the boat and she believed he was going to get on and leave with the friends. Maybe not in so many words, but that's basically what she said. The sister said her sister told her he walked towards the boat and she thought he was leaving with the friends. Doug, trying to figure out why we got so much misinformation from the Crump team. Or why did they not send the body parts to the pathologist for the parents independent test so they could figure out and do their own tests? Annie L, what was the post Lauren made, or where can I see it? Annie Lauren Serpa on Facebook. She puts her name out there, so I promise I'm not doxing. LOL. Damn, drunk person could have pushed him off the boat and not gave a second thought. That's disgusting to think, but it could have been too far to swim back. Well, I mean, there's only so many possible theories, right? Well said, Deb. Annie L, thank you very much. L, no problem, Annie. Doug went into the water to relieve himself. Either one or two, not happening. I don't buy that one bit. Went into the water to relieve himself. Either one or two. Not happening, Doug. That's like, no way. I don't buy that 1 minute. I mean, it's a good thought, but I don't buy that. I'm a dreamer. All the boats and the people, but nobody knows anything. I don't believe that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm a dreamer. Deb, can't imagine no one seeing him in the water to give him a hand. I do have questions about this kid looking around at people using phones, yet claims he wasn't paying attention to what others were doing. Well said, Deb. L, exactly. I'm a dreamer. Me either. Too many people were there. Annie, I am a dreamer. Oh, to me either. L, and in my opinion, they already knew Katie, all of them. So I don't know why the narrative was put out there that Nolen just met her and that they did not know her. That very true. Very possibility. That's a very good possibility. Well, they had to make contact with her when they were trying to find out what happened to Nolen. Remember? Mysteriously, everybody had her number. Everybody had her tweets. Everybody knew her channel. Everybody knew her Instagram, or not her Instagram, but her Snapchat. Who had eyes for Katie or who had eyes for Nolen? Who was jealous? So that means somebody would have done it to him. So it's either one of those, someone did it deliberately or accidentally. He probably got pushed off the boat. Those are my two theories right there. And I don't know what else anybody else can come up with. Honestly, I really don't. Someone unalived him purposely because they didn't like he was with her, or he accidentally or purposely got pushed off the boat and couldn't swim all the way. And before they all panicked and before they all calmed down from panicking, he went under and no one was willing to go after him and dive in there and get him because they were inebriated. Very possible. That's the only two scenarios I see, folks. Because what else could have happened? Someone unalived him purposely, or he mysteriously fell off the boat. By a shove, by a push, possibly accidental. And no one, and I do mean no one, did anything to try to help him or were afraid to help him because they would have probably drowned. Warren said in his interview they were all texting her. He did. So they all had her number. They all knew her. Marianne L, I did watch someone said they knew each other from high school. I seen that too, Marianne. I saw that too. I saw that. and pointed a picture of her in that high school, and Nolen was in there and those other people that were there. L, well said, Marianne. L, Marianne, that doesn't surprise me. I'm not sure why the narrative was put out there that they just met. That's suspicious in my opinion. Annie, Doug, jealousy is just my thought. It's a very good possibility. So they did it purposely. They unalived him purposely. Bible, I think he was pushed off the boat. That's my only other theory. That those two are the only other theory I have. There's nothing else. Nothing else will fit the narrative. I think he was pushed off the boat. Very possible, Bible. Bible, right? L, I think there was info on his phone that would have given away whatever was going on between him and whomever was jealous of him taking that girl. That's what I think. They done it purposely to get rid of him. So he was unalive intentionally. Going to a more desolate spot to go to the bathroom away from everyone. Okay, so he goes to a desolate spot, crouches down, shits or pisses, either or. He's in an area no one's around there. Why would he go in the water and do it? He's just right there. Do it. Or if he goes in the water, why does he have to go like all the way out there to the water to take a shit or take a piss? I don't see that. I really don't see that. And then somebody clucked him over the head as he was pooping or peeing. Possible. Then that would mean someone did it on purpose. Annie L. Yep. I'm a dreamer, L. I think so too. Marianne, I still think it was someone that was jealous of Nolen talking to Katie. I mean, it's going to be one of those two, right? Either he was unalive purposely for that reason or something close to that reason. Or they didn't like him for whatever reason. Or he was accidentally pushed off the boat or purposely pushed off the boat. There's no other two scenarios, guys. Everything else is like grasping for straws. Marianne, you are right. Me too, Marianne. That's exactly what I think happened. Bible, I have heard of one person seeing Nolen after the other supposedly left him. Yeah, I think Warren said there was somebody saw him like at 6:30. He said that in his interview, his last interview with Tatum, he had stated that somebody had texted him or called him. I want to say texted him or called him and told him that that person that he knew had seen him at 6:30, if I'm to recall right. I don't know what to think. But she was there. She didn't leave until 8:30. I want to say 8 or 8:30. She being Katie, she didn't leave till 8:30. So that means that if he called him at 6:30 and told him that he saw him with the girl there, then that means they still had 2 hours before, or an hour and a half to 2 hours before anything happened to him. So either it happened purposely or he got pushed out of the boat. Morning, DD. Sam is in the house. L85, Doug, Barney, Tusi, and the rest of the chat. Good to have you. I'm a dreamer. Bible, I haven't either. L, good morning. Good morning, Sam. Deb, what boat did the girl get on? Did she have a boyfriend there? I don't know what boat she got on, but I do know she got on a boat. They said she came back at about 8:30, something like that. But I'm not sure. That's a good point. And we could find out who was on that boat that she was on. And you know what? Here's the thing. She knows everybody that was on that boat. Or let me rephrase that. I don't know if she knew everybody, but I'm sure she had an idea who were the people on that boat, or had a good memory to be able to tell the cops who were all on the boat if she had to give any information. And they said she was cooperating with the authorities. They're saying she didn't have a boyfriend, Deb. Sam, usually what happens is a bunch of underage people, a few 21 and above, purchase alcohol. Person has bad trip, alcohol poisoning. They all panic, walk away, don't call 911, force a friend in fire department to do CPR. Very possible. Sam, yes, because those who supplied all know they will be held responsible. Those are the people they're going to come after. I'll tell you that right now, everybody. The people they're going to come after is the people who supplied the alcohol and or the drugs that were apparent, or I'm sorry, the narcotics that were apparently reported to be on that boat. Okay, I believe the boat that Nolen was on. So they're either going to come after those people more than anything. The alcohol, who purchased the alcohol, and who brought the narcotics into the, if they find that in the toxicology report. I'm a dreamer, Holly. I think that's strange too. To see, hi Sam, Miss Barney. I would like to know if there was lifesavers on the boat. Well, that's another one. Supposedly, there's supposed to be one for every person that's on the boat, but I don't know. That's a very good point. Damn, guy piss anywhere, laughing out loud. Very well said. Grayson, now 1905, but why didn't they just dump the phone into the ocean? No one would find it for years, if ever. Totally agree. Maybe they just weren't thinking about it. Maybe they just didn't know his phone was on there. Remember how they said that there was a lot of phones that were on the boat, right? That there were a lot of phones that were on the boat, that everybody usually puts their phone up there. Maybe they didn't even know what phone was his. Maybe that was the last thing they were thinking about until everything unfolded, and then they said, "Oh shit, we have all these phones. Oh shit, this is his phone." I mean, you know what I mean? It's possible. Sam L85, I forced the guy on the fire department to do CPR, and that guy who stopped breathing, like I say, they were just going to walk away. And yes, they were afraid they would go to jail for buying the booze. Doug, I don't think the bathroom just trying to cover any and all. No, I agree. I understand what you're saying. There's only two things here, folks. Two things. Within reason. He was either literally unalive for the simple fact of someone didn't like him or someone didn't like him talking to the girl. Or the other one, he was pushed off the boat and was so inebriated he couldn't swim that long, and he went under. And no one tried to save him because they were panicking. The only two scenarios right there. He was unalive purposely, or he was pushed out of the boat. No other thing that anybody can really think of would make any sense. In all honesty. Those two are probably your higher probabilities of what happened to him. In my opinion. Annie, when the kid said Nolen was coddling, the young people use that word. What young people use that word? No doubt about it, Annie. Even the interviewer Tatum had to ask Warren to explain coddling. Basically, he was just holding her in the water. Grayson, yeah, but it's like uncaught for people to relieve themselves on the West End and the island as it is out in the open. I just don't think he went into the water, and he went that far into the water, literally, to go ahead and take a dump or a pee. That doesn't even, I mean, to me, that doesn't make sense. Just saying for me. Doug, it was said to go in the water to do it so other people don't step in it. And I could see him going right to the edge of the water. He didn't have to go all the way till it starts to go from 5 feet to to waist high to 5 feet to all the way up to 15 feet. He didn't have to do that. I mean, nothing says he would have went that far. I'm a dreamer. I think he went overboard for sure, just not sure why and how. It makes perfect sense to me because it's going to be one of those, folks. I'm telling you. They should have just crushed it, Grayson. It's a good point, but it also makes no sense why a correspondence was deleted from his phone, in my opinion. Good point. Good point, Al. Sam. And crazy thing was fire department guy was having an affair with guy. I made him save with COR girlfriend. We all look back at one another and laugh, but things could have gone way different had I not showed up. Well said, Sam. Holly, how can both boys who were interviewed be all these photos with Nolen, yet the mother not know of them? Seems strange. Yeah, I agree with that one, Grayson, no doubt. The only thing for that is just she was in stress. She's worrying about her son. She's probably not even thinking clearly. And to be honest, she's not thinking clearly. She's not going to focus on anybody but her son. Where is he? Is he possible that he is still alive? Is there a hope? Is there a maybe? You know what I mean? That's the only thing I can think on that one. But it's a good point. Deb, don't battle with jealousy. Let people live their lives and move on. It's not worth it. Sam, CPR, not COR, LOL. Victoria Burgess is in the house. Good to have you, Victoria. Welcome in. Good morning, everyone. I'm a dreamer. Grayson, I do not understand that either. Oh my Sam. Hi, Victoria. Sam, Victoria, Gray. Deb says, no kidding, Grayson. Good news. Laughing out, but they do. Grayson, I agree. Wonder why they have released any info from the phone. A data dump from it would have shown exactly GPS locations over time and when if files and messages were deleted. You know why, Grayson? Because, as the sheriff put it, it's all under investigation. Yeah, it's all under investigation. But you're right. That information's all there. It is all there. They just want to control the narrative. Without a doubt. Victoria Burgess, AJ, hello. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, everybody. Be a devil pup in the house. Subscribe, become a member. Click that like, share the stream to your followers and other streamers. Word of mouth is the best thing you can do for the channel, everybody. Bible, if Katie didn't see Nolen after his friends left, make it clear that he was on the boat for me. Bible says, if Katie didn't see Nolen after his friends left, make it clear that he was on the boat for me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I know is they said he didn't get on the boat. Katie, and then Warren said, she confirmed that. That's not true. Katie never confirmed that she stayed with her. In fact, she said he walked to get on the boat. She walked towards the boat to get on because their friends were leaving. That's what she said. Warren added the part about when he was talking to the Tatum, he's the one that said, and Katie confirmed that after he said, yeah, Nolen came and said, Nolen said he was going to stay back with Katie because he kind of liked her. And she confirmed it. She never said that. She never confirmed anything of that. Remember? She never confirmed anything. Her story has always been he walked towards the boat or he went on the boat. That was her story. Jersey lady, the fellow who did the interview about the boat sinking, said They had life preservers for all on board. Good deal. Thank you, Jersey lady. Click that like, everybody. Click that likes. Let's get it. Let's build this channel, my friends. Marianne, the phone. The plane. Holly, where were her parents that day? Did Nolen have life insurance? Good question, but he had a promising career in sports. But good question. Grayson, at first the parents didn't turn over the phone. They may be why that's been delayed, or it may be kept quiet, as there may be evidence, in my opinion. Sam, and the thing is, guys, teenagers nowadays record everything on their phones and even post chances are whole thing on X, Twitter, YouTube, etc., some form of social media. Marianne, Deb, but why the phone deletions? Likely to hide something. Grayson, Bible, the time when photos, videos were taken and the GPS data don't align with him being on the boat, unless, of course, all those photos and videos had their metadata changed. Marianne, you can't watch me. I'm not doing anything. Doug, cradling, not coddling. AJ, laughing out loud. Marianne, I'm always watching you. L, why don't they have bathrooms on the island? That popular, and that big? That's weird. Nothing makes sense, honestly. Yeah, which is baffling. They need to get data from the phone before some of the GPS data is purged automatically. Some phones don't keep. Some of the GPS data is purged automatically. Some phones don't keep GPS data for more than a few days. Well said. Thank you, Grayson. Annie, Doug, coddling, cradling. What young person uses those words? Emma Dreamer, L, think they don't. Everyone just goes in water. Deb, it was harmless, flirting, fun, crazy if a person gets jealous over that. Just got to remember where you're at, that's for sure. Well said. L, Grayson, I didn't understand that they then held onto the phone that long either. Makes no sense. Grayson, do you mean why they aren't porta potties? Doug, Annie, I'm a dreamer, so weird and nasty. Sam, I have several friends who are current and former fire department, EMS, police, and in party city towns like Mardi Gras, concert-sized theme parks, people drunk, passed out in road parking lots at 2 a.m. Very true. That's like every college around our nation. Grayson, it is said that they aren't bathrooms on the island at all, but I'm not sure if that's accurate. You'd think they'd have something. Deb, maybe have been deeper than we even know. The jealous situation. Grayson, yeah, there aren't bathrooms there. I don't know what company would put porta potties out there in the service. They consider all that would have to be evolved physically. Sam, one of the friends of the M&T Florida new thing, teens go into a small sampler booze bottles. They buy them on a box of Tampa, soak them, insert their in rear, and instant gets them. Now that's sick, Sam. That is sick. Good point, Grayson. Sam, 20 people get drunk for like $8 with tampons, but soaked in sampler bottle alcohol. It's sick and they get overdose. Luke calls for this another thing they drop. Acid under eyelid. Woo! You're going to get me going, Sam. Bible question. Did Katie and Nolen after he walked toward the boat? Question. Did Katie see Nolen after what? Never stated that she did or didn't. Never stated that she did. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said that he got on the boat. But she said he walked towards the boat to leave with his friends. That was at when they left at 4:30. So if in fact, literally, she did see him, she would have never made that comment. She would have said, "Oh, yeah," and then he came back later, and we ended up getting together again, right? Sam, like not Luke's laughing out loud. Sam, oh my God, that is crazy. Sam, in my, I'm a dreamer. Yep, heard. I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm older. I'll laughing out loud. Not college party. I would want to go to bend over. Let's get drunk. Deb, could the boat sinking issue been used for a distraction? I don't think it turned out to be serious. I don't think so either. I think it was just a plug. But that's a good point. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. I'm a dreamer, Sam. In my opinion, I can't even imagine doing that. Sam, it's gross, Dee. I would say so. I would say so. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. That is gross, especially if they were used ones. Oh, my God. I'm a dreamer. I've heard it all now. L, AJ, Doug, which boat and which friends? AJ, L, laughing out loud. AJ, laughing out loud. Doug, who was Nolen supposed to ride back with if he didn't leave with the boat he came on? He was just going to catch a ride on another boat. According to Warren, he said that they all do that. That if they don't want to come back, they'll get a hitch on a ride going back. He didn't specify which one. Oh, goodness. Laughing out loud, Chris. Hey, what kind of channel is this? This is a channel, party channel. Oh, my Lord. Chris, always lurking. I'm telling you, folks, two things. It was done deliberately because of either he wasn't liked or he was talking to her. It was done deliberately. Without a doubt, either that or the only other possible thing that I see that makes any bit of sense is he was pushed off the boat. Those are the only two scenarios that make any sense, guys. No matter how you stretch it, how you go ahead and parse it, those are the only two things. So then you have to ask yourself, he didn't become unalive because he tried to swim back. He didn't become unalive because he tried to poop in the water and the current took him. I mean, think of how that sounds. He didn't go ahead and become unalive because, he was bobbing for apples. I mean, the idea is that there's only two things, folks. It was done intentionally, or he was pushed off the boat or fell off the boat. So either the boat or someone purposely. Or he was pushed off the boat. That's it. There's just two things. Nothing else makes any sense. Nothing. Because here's why nothing else makes any sense. Apparently, there was no bruises, apparently. I mean, they did say his face looked a lot, but it was because of the water log. He had taken in so much water. But there wasn't like any cuts and marks that I'm aware of. So how did it happen? Somebody could have held his head under water. Yeah. I mean, it's going to have to be one or two people because that is very hard to do. He wasn't like a little guy. He was tall, lengthy, and he was strong. He was athletic. So holding someone underneath is very hard. I could see it happen with a much, much, much bigger guy, like maybe pool guy, 50-year-old man in a pool with teeny boppers. It's very possible. But you follow what I'm saying? There's only two things. There's nothing else. Nothing else. No matter what, he didn't eat a for lack of words, he didn't eat no Cajun food, and he just ended up, you know, vomiting in his own vomit. I mean, the reality is that it's only those two things. So look what goes with those two things. What is it that goes with those two scenarios? Then try to figure out how does it fit. I agree with that, L. Oh my God. Sam said it's like the new Whip It for college kids. Like back in the day, get whipped cream or nitro at parties, Whip Its. Everybody had Whip Its. Marianne, I agree with that. L. AJ, like the one, right? Chris, I am working, so lurking is a good way to keep up with work. AJ, thumbs up. L, laughing Annie. My goodness, I don't think he would have been that type to poop in water. Yeah. Big hairy dude is still my main person of interest. Very possible. That's a very good point, Doug. Very good point. I don't think we've have seen anything. I mean, I've asked the question before. I wonder if he was at that island. I would say probably so, only because if he was lurking around with teeny boppers, you definitely bet he would be out there, right? But God, if we could only find a picture of him there, that would speak volume. Annie, nobody held him down alone. That's what I'm saying. L, Doug, I want to find out more about him. I'm a dreamer. A young, strong man doesn't just drown in front of hundreds of people and nobody saw nothing. Totally agree. Sam, Combo, I think this dispute over girlfriend gave him some hard booze or drugs, could have done it willingly or unknowingly when they just left him for nature to take its course, in my opinion. Marianne, I would think he was pushed, shoved off the boat. There would have some kind of mark on him. Deb, Sam, on a roll today. L, Deb, Annie, Sam, another nature. Woo! All right, everybody. We have been on for a while. Click that likes, everybody. Click that likes. You want to get a membership for somebody? Help the channel grow. Let's get some memberships going. If you want to go ahead and support the channel, help it grow, by all means, click the likes, subscribe, share it to your other channels and your followers. Let's get it, everybody. So, Chris, what homework are you doing? I'm just curious. Growski, gifted one Devil Dog membership. Thank you, Growski. Appreciate you, my friend. And thank you so much for always supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Oh, you're at work. Okay, got you, Chris. Let's get it, everybody. Click them likes. Welcome to the channel, Dinah. Good to have you. Yeah, I got another stream ready to go at 5. I've got another case that I want to introduce, a new case. Marianne, thank you, Gronsky. L, you have another stream at 5, DD. Annie, welcome, Dinah. Still trying to figure out who is Dinah. L, sounds good. Chris, it's about time you do something new. Hey, I go where the story takes me. Tusi, great, 5 p.m. Yes, yes. It's going to be a new case. L. Annie, my tablet is going dead, so I have to charge it for 5. Have a great day, everyone, and you later. You got it. Have a good one, Annie. Thank you for being here. Hint, hint. I got it, Doug. How the hell do you read before me when I was first? I will not stand for this. Take care, Eddie. All right, everybody. All right. With the hint, and I did get it, Doug. But thank you for reminding me. Tuesday, bye, Annie, Chris. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead and end this live. Great live. Amazing live. You guys were amazing. You did great. Very good questions. Very, very good questions. Chris says, I can hear you didn't oil up the chair like you said. Oh, my God. You sold the bike that Barney, the e-bike that Barney let you borrow. You have no room to talk there, Chris. Bye. Have a good day, everyone. Have a great day, everybody. Hope to see you guys at 5. Be here at 5, guys. Be here at 5. It's a new case. Going to go ahead and go into a new case, and we will be following it. With that, everybody, thank you so much. Appreciate all your help. Thank you for helping the channel grow. Thank you for all the gifts and the memberships, Gronsky. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Be ready at 5 because we will rock and roll and get this other case going. Marianne, off the Nolen Wells case, AJ was handing out flyers, and someone mentioned that they heard on the street that Nancy was holding some of Savannah's money for her. Don't know how true it is. Thank you, Marianne. See what more you can dig up on that and let us know, please. Appreciate that. Tusi, bye all. Thank you. So later. I'm a dreamer. I'll try to be back later. You're always welcome here. Bible, red, white, and blue. Chris, I had to get back home somehow. Very interesting, Marianne. Marianne, her, not he. L, Chris. All right, everybody. God bless you. Thank you. Remember, this is all common sense, everybody. It's all common sense. With that, everybody, thank you for all your support. Thank you all mods for everything you guys do. With that, simplify, everybody.